Hi, I'm Arthur, and in the setting of 40k there is always this weird balance of trying to make characters significant without making them too significant. There are many reasons as to why this is, but there has to be a balance in between the two. 40k is a universe divided into two pieces. The tabletop game is the one Games Workshop tries to push the hardest, as that is where all the money comes from. Then you have the universe of the lore, generated by its subsidiary company, or subsidiary section, a Black Library, to drive up sales for the miniatures, as well as provide background for the tabletop itself. You kind of have to have miniatures to represent the characters in the lore, but not every character can have a miniature. Make sense? Kind of? Okay. For simple things like a Space Marine Intercessor, it makes sense for them to have an entire unit of miniatures available for purchase. They are a commonly deployed Space Marine asset to the standard military construct of the universe. But what about things more specific, like named characters? How do you determine who is interesting and important enough to get a miniature and who isn't? My theory is Games Workshop has a shut up, here it is style of miniature creation, where if people complain enough, they get a miniature. Not one they wanted, but they do get a miniature. Like people were complaining that the White Scars didn't have enough Primaris characters, or any Primaris characters for that. So they gave us Corsaro Khan. Not on a bike. They gave us a White Scars character, not on a bike. He did buff bikes when he first came out though, so that's cool I guess. But I digress. Though there are a lot of characters in the setting that I feel deserve a miniature, they are probably not going to unless GW does a bit of a revamp. See, there is an issue with making named character miniatures, as if you don't like the character, or even play the faction they are a part of, it's kinda hard to justify a singular character. I'm happy that Vitri and Messinius got a miniature, but I don't play white consoles, and I don't know anybody who does. But it's a really cool miniature, so it's hard to justify making him. But I'm glad they did. More miniatures available to people is always better than less miniatures, you know? So I just want to make a video discussing characters I think should get a miniature in the future. And if you agree with me, cool. If you don't, fucking lick my ass, I guess. I don't know. Before I get into this video idea was actually inspired by a good friend of mine who also does Warhammer videos. We were discussing models for characters because he's currently doing his own series on 40k characters that need models, but because he's significantly more talented and attractive than me, he is making the models himself, like doing full-on kit bashes and painting them up. So go check out Mishmash Painting if you want to see a follow-up to this video. So the first two are honorable mentions on this list. One is not a character, and the other is weird. So the first one is the Overlord gunship. It is a vehicle used almost exclusively by the Primaris Marines, and if you've read any of the more modern books, it's brought up a lot for some reason. They're basically grav jet transports that have a boatload of guns on them. I think it's weird that we haven't gotten one, considering we don't even have a Primaris flyer yet, and even in the first books to come out in 8th edition with the Primaris Marines, they were mentioned as a staple of the army, and talked about the same way they talk about the other new units in there, like the Inceptors, the Aggressors, the Intercessors, and so on and so forth. Second honorable mention is Gabriel Seth. I know he already has a miniature, but he needs to come back in plastic, and hopefully be Primaris, because I miss Gaby Wavy, and I want to murder heretics with him again. Okay, on to the actual first one. I think that it would be really cool if we not only got a model, but some more lore for the current chapter master of the Imperial Fists, which I find is a common thing people don't know about. Darneth Lysander and Tor Chaddington Bear Garradon are not the chapter masters of the Imperial Fists as much as you'd think with a man who has a fist that big. The actual chapter master, from last I heard, was a man by the name of Gregor Decian, someone who doesn't have much lore, doesn't have a model, but for some reason is the chapter master of what is considered one of the most important chapters of Space Marines in the entire setting of the game and the universe. Now, I'm not saying he should get, like, books and books of lore. I'm just saying a little more than literally nothing we have right now would be kind of cool, if I'm being completely honest with you. I could see them doing it, and they have the complete freedom to give this man an Imperial Fist brand Power Fist and just call it the Imperial Fist. I don't think anybody would be upset about that. I'd think it'd be kind of cool. To be honest, I'm still a little bit confused as to why they haven't. It feels like they forgot that every major legion has a chapter master sometimes. I know the Iron Hands are a bit weird with their models, but Cardin Stronos has a lot of lore to carry him, so it is weird, I will say. I mean, I guess there is the Salamanders, and they have the same issue of having a chapter master that doesn't have a model, but it is what it is, I guess. Next guy I think should get a model is someone I think a lot of people would agree with if they know about him. Now, I'm still going through several series in which he is a part of, but he's still incredibly important. It is a custodian that serves as one of Guilliman's advisors and guards during his crusades. Maldevar Culquin. He is someone who definitely deserves a model, because with other characters you could say, well, they would just be a Space Marine captain with a name that doesn't really have much difference in terms of rules and stats and whatever, so just model it however you want. Like, that's my issue with Uriel Ventress. The only reason why we can justify getting a model is because, well, he's incredibly well trained and a seasoned veteran of every single conflict a Space Marine could ever go through, but if he wasn't, he'd just be the same stat line as a captain with just a bit of a weirder sword. Again, kind of like Vitrian Messinius, how he has a plasma pistol and a power fist and is just kind of a cool guy. But with Culquin, he is constantly showing to have the most opposed personality to that of other custodies, where they are often silently dismissive and arrogant. He's incredibly quick to anger and quick to kill anyone who would have pissed him off to any degree. He's an adept fighter, and I think that the Custodies in general deserve more models. He is a veteran of the Indomitus Crusade and is responsible for one of the more interesting lore tidbits of the last few years, which is that he kind of implied that he and a few other Custodies might have attempted to kill Guilliman at some point, so that's cool, I guess. Whatever. Okay, I'll elaborate more in a separate video that's all about conspiracies, but it was basically Culquin admitting that something is protecting Guilliman that not even the Custodies could get past, because they had tried in the past to do so, which is ominous. It makes him all a bit more deserving, right? The next character is actually a big reason why I'm doing this. Hansu. That's it, Hansu. Just needs a model. Okay, fine, I'll elaborate more on that. Yeah, Hansu is one of the bigger threats to the universe, if I'm being completely honest. In my brief stints of seeing him as a character recently in a few books that I've been reading, I can see that he is not only dangerous, but he is fucking violent. He is unpredictable and able to go against all conventions of warfare in order to win. He will sacrifice everything, do the riskiest plays imaginable to win the fight, and it often comes out with him on top. He is a warsmith for the Iron Warriors and seen as one of the worst by literally everyone, even the Iron Warriors. See, he is a bit of an odd duck. Made from chimeric gene C, that is a mixture of both Iron Warriors and Imperial Fists, he is often referred to as the half-breed, a mongrel, and a lot more or less kind names to describe how no one respects him. He is seen as a disgusting abomination of a man and doesn't deserve his mantle. But if you are so bold to say that, then congrats. You are going to die at some point, and soon, because he also has a weird complex about being treated like shit. If you look down on him, he will grab you by the scruff of your shirt and drag you down to his level no matter what. He will risk life and limb to undermine you, embarrass you, and then torture you to death in the worst way possible, just to prove that he is worthy of his title. I remember he was betrayed in, I believe, the third Uriel Ventress book by someone that was by his side, and instead of doing the normal thing and just killing him, tied the man up, snipped every tendon that he had so he couldn't move, and then from the feet up started grinding him into paste more and more as the days went by, just to use the paste to feed some of his experiments, and only got more when he needed it, and just left him there to dangle without painkillers. The traitor in question was not in a good spot, I will admit, but Hansu is also very visually distinct as well. well, with one of his arms being made of a liquid metal prosthetic stolen from an ultramarine who got it from a planet that was known to be a Necron tomb world. This liquid metal prosthetic could actually regenerate no matter how many times it was destroyed, and was also a significant chunk stronger than the majority of prosthetics that you could get. He has his skull caved in from a bolt shell that detonated and didn't kill him, and he always carries a great axe blessed by chaos into whatever battle he wants to engage in. Every piece of art he has of him is fucking beautiful. He's a very striking character, and a model with him could look very fucking cool. And he is one of the most evil motherfuckers in the universe. I think even Abaddon would look at him and think he was a bit too much. Fun fact, my conversation with Mishmash about this specific topic was quite literally about Hanzu, because he asked me what miniature I would like to see. So, that's cute. But aside from him, the last person I think should get a miniature is literally any fucking Night Lord's character ever. I don't mean like, I want a conversion kit, I mean any named guy ever. He doesn't need lore, we haven't had a character model in over 20 years, and the last one that came out was older than fucking me at this point. We are getting new Night Lords models, but they are a kill team for fuck's sake. Get the End of Saints or fucking Decimus, Reuven's marionetted corpse on a string. Literally anything would be good at this point. Please, James, I beg of you. That's the video. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed me talking about a few characters that I think deserve miniatures, and enjoying my little schizo meltdown at the end of that. And I think you would probably agree with me on most of these. Aside from that, who do you think deserves miniatures, or at least a new miniature to some degree? Let me know in the comments. I genuinely want to see, because there's a lot of characters that definitely deserve. Also, remember to like and subscribe, as it helps the channel immensely. And alongside that, special thanks to my channel members for supporting me. And if you want to support me as well as gain access to additional content, then become a channel member today. Thanks once again for watching. And until next time.